Imagine trusting the demon that's living inside of you, the same demon who spent years trying to take over your body, the same Momoshiki who gaslighted you and mocked your weakness, was trying to hijack your soul and told you that you would lose everything. Now imagine willingly offering him control, because that's exactly what Boruto might have potentially just done in the follow-up from chapter 25 and the events in chapter 26 that happened off screen. Chapter 26 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex might have quietly dropped one of the biggest turning points in the entire series. The hidden deal off screen between Boruto and Momoshiki that could reshape everything that we know about karma, destiny, and the very timeline itself. And the craziest part, Kashin Koji might have been the one that told Boruto to approach Momoshiki, but Boruto and Koji aren't necessarily on the best speaking terms right now, which means Boruto might have made a change to what he was supposed to do. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, breaks down what might have really happened in the Boruto and Momoshiki off-screen conversation, why Boruto's silence is telling us more than any words could ever do, and how this directly ties into the philosophy that we have in the Boruto series, where enlightenment and damnation, they walk the same razor's edge. Also, don't forget to check out and subscribe to my Anime Explained channel where I discuss other anime and manga besides Naruto and Boruto, and my Everything One Piece Explained channel where I discuss One Piece in the form of explained videos like the new video I just did on Ace, and a blind reaction of every single chapter of One Piece's manga from chapter 1 all up to the most recent chapter from the perspective of somebody that's never read One Piece before. Both channels will be linked in the description box as well as in the end credits when it comes to the video that I mentioned earlier for your convenience. So let's just get right into it. There's a setup for Boruto's desperation. So chapter 25, as we all know, that ended with a bombshell. Boruto, who is stronger than Jigen, who is smarter than Kawaki, who is faster than anyone in Konoha, he admitted defeat. Not to Jura, not to Kawaki, but instead to reality. Jura's existence changed everything. He wasn't some random Shinju clone. He is the apex being made directly from the Ten Tails itself, with Ishiki's essence via Code's Karma Seal, Code's chakras, or Shibai cells. He is capable of overwhelming both Boruto and Kawaki despite them wielding divine level power. Jura doesn't just destroy, he hunts with a purpose. He targets the planet itself in the form of wanting to produce a chakra fruit, and he's even inquired, what happens if I myself consume the chakra fruit? For the first time, Boruto's truly realized he can't win as things are right now. So that's when he tells Momoshiki, I'll give you control if you want, but in return, I need to make sure you have the power to destroy Jura. It isn't necessarily a surrender. Instead, it's a strategic sin. Boruto understands that if the world burns, there won't be anything left to protect. No Sarada, no Himawari, no home for his parents to return to. And when the stakes reach that scale, even a demon can become a possible ally. And this brings me to why silence speaks way louder in terms of volume. This is where things get very fascinating in my opinion. When Koji later asked Boruto whether he made a deal with Momoshiki or not, Boruto doesn't answer. He just looks away. He gives Kashin Koji more of the same standoffish energy that he's been doing for a while now. And notice how Kashin Koji basically phrased it. He said, did you do it yet? That single word, it tells us that Kashin Koji was likely the one who suggested it. He knew it was an option they would need just based on 10 directions. We know that he got that brand new update. This could be something he told Boruto to do. It's dangerous, yes, but it might be necessary. Kashin Koji is both a consequentialist as well as a pragmatist. He's been watching Boruto from the shadows, grooming him to become what the shinobi world needs. Boruto's basically a messiah who also has a moral compass. But Koji's reaction afterwards, that subtle pause, the flicker of unease, it suggests that Boruto may have gone further than Koji intended. Because if Boruto didn't answer, it's likely because he didn't just offer his soul in return. He might have done something extra in regards to trying to get that power. Something potentially Kashin Koji would not approve of. It may very well just be Boruto went a step further and offered his soul to make sure Momoshiki would give him the power. That remains to be seen, but there's a hidden bargain that happened here, because All this happened on screen. So what kind of deal could Boruto-Momoshiki realistically make that requires the whole conversation be off screen? Momoshiki's true goal is to resurrect as a full Ōtsutsuki, not just somebody that is forced to share a body with Boruto, unable to die. As long as Boruto's alive, Momoshiki is alive. He's been trying to overtake Boruto's consciousness ever since Omnipotence before he seemingly gave up. But every time, Boruto was able to push him back. His will is way too strong. The last known attempt that we know is what happened on screen when Sasuke and Boruto were fighting against Code. Boruto said that Momoshiki went quiet after that. But here's the thing, power always comes at a cost. If Boruto genuinely offered Momoshiki control, it could be something temporary. It could be a conditional possession, like saying, you can use my body afterwards, but here are the things you're not allowed to do. In other words, it could just be a pact, if you will. The same concept that we have seen at times with Naruto and Kurama before they fully cooperated. But it's also worth noting that there's a difference here. Momoshiki's not Kurama. He's not loyal. He's definitely not self-sacrificing. So what could potentially motivate him to agree? One word, in my opinion, interest. Momoshiki doesn't care about Earth, but what he does care about is the balance of divine power and achieving it. Jura represents a being even Ōtsutsuki in terms of their hierarchy would consider to be unnatural, a ten-tails fragment acting independently of godly control. A ten-tails is supposed to be beneath them. I would use a real-world example for you. Imagine if you just looked up one day and the burger that you're getting ready to eat starts talking crazy to you, talking about how you never should have killed the cow, or whoever the cook was that used the meat never should have cooked a cow in order to make the hamburger patty. Wild expression, but that's basically how Ōtsutsuki view a ten-tails. The same way we view a burger. We don't think twice about eating it unless you're a vegetarian. So to Momoshiki, Jura might be a threat to the Ōtsutsuki order itself. Helping Boruto destroy Jura could preserve the hierarchy that Momoshiki secretly worships as an Ōtsutsuki. In that sense, Boruto didn't just make a deal with a desperate demon, he might have made a deal with a conservative god when you look at it from that perspective, somebody that wants to maintain the traditional balance. Now, there's also a Buddhist parallel here, because obviously there is. This entire scenario mirrors one of the most chilling Buddhist allegories, the demon that guards the gate to nirvana. In certain Buddhist teachings, enlightenment isn't just reached by rejecting darkness, but by mastering it. Before achieving awakening, a soul must confront its own internal demon called Mara, a force that tempts, deceives, and tests the spirit. Boruto's Momoshiki, that is his Mara. Every time Boruto faced despair, when you look back over the series, Momoshiki was the one whispering and trying to gaslight him. He tried tempting him, he tried testing him, he tried to take over his body during omnipotence. But the act of making a deal isn't failure, instead is integration. In Buddhist symbolism, which Naruto and Boruto borrow heavily from, this is the moment where the hero doesn't destroy the demon but instead accepts its presence without being devoured by it. If Boruto's bargain was made from a place of compassion to protect others, like say protect people like Sarada and Sasuke, rather than to gain selfish strength, then that choice aligns with the Buddhist idea of using darkness as a tool for enlightenment, basically what we would call in the West a necessary evil. However, if Momoshiki corrupts that deal, Boruto's compassion, it becomes his chain, the razor's edge that he walks. Salvation and destruction, they are really just one breath apart, the same way that love and hate are one breath apart. Kashin Koji's got a weighted interest in this because when you think about it, there is a timeline risk. So let's circle back to Koji for a second. His role might be more dangerous than we think. Koji, as a clone of Jiraiya, is basically an inverse of Jiraiya. He carries knowledge of time and prophecy and reincarnation. His dialogue has always been cryptic, almost meta to a degree, because he's aware of events before they unfold. For the most part, as we've seen, there are things that happen outside of his knowledge, but that largely depends on if someone like Boruto acts in a way because of the knowledge they have that was not intended. It's possible that Koji was trying to guide Boruto towards a fixed point in this new timeline, something that was supposed to help maintain the flow of fate. But if Boruto took that advice and he changed the terms from how Koji presented it, he may have just broken that destined chain. We may see yet another 10 Directions update. Think about it. Kashin Koji, his only purpose right now is tied to maintaining a specific outcome. The conflict with Boruto and Koji is Boruto can and will deviate, creating a new butterfly effect that Kashin Koji can't predict if Boruto deems it necessary. That might explain Koji's concern in chapter 26 when he called Boruto a brat. His reaction wasn't just about the moral risk of Boruto's decision. It was more so about timeline instability. He'll sacrifice anyone for the timeline, even if it means sacrificing Boruto in order to defeat Jura, assuming it's a mutually assured destruction where Boruto and Jura both die. That's the example I'm giving you. But Boruto may have saved the present at the expense of the future. That might be what Koji's thinking to himself. Because if Momoshiki gained something in that deal, knowledge, autonomy, or some type of influence we yet to know about, it could alter the karma flow of energy itself when it comes to the timeline. That means Boruto's agreement didn't necessarily just be about power. It could have rewritten the law of cause and effect. And in Buddhist cosmology, that's the definition of falling into the cycle of samsara, that being the cycle of suffering. This is also where we have to ask the question, can Boruto even trust Momoshiki? The short answer is absolutely not. Momoshiki is a manipulator. Every time he's lost control of Boruto, it's been because of Boruto's willpower eclipsing his own or Boruto's body absorbing chakra. But now that Boruto has willingly opened that door, Momoshiki might potentially have leverage. In Buddhist symbolism, when the Mara finds weakness, so in this case the Mara is Momoshiki, whether it be attachment, desire, or pity, it uses it as a foothold to return. I think we all would agree that Boruto's main weaknesses are compassion and love. His love for those who he protects could be the very reason he gets betrayed. If Momoshiki sees that Boruto's willing to risk his soul to save others, he might exploit that selflessness, pretending to fully cooperate while in a very subtle way trying to erode Boruto's control. Remember, Momoshiki once said, "Those who kill a god, their lives can never be the same." He also said those immune to omnipotence are destined to suffer the most. Boruto's entire arc, it's been a defiance incarnate, basically rewriting destiny, flipping karma, saving the unsavable. Obviously that unsavable being someone like Kawaki, but now he's bargaining with the very embodiment of fate itself. If that balance tips, Boruto could find himself in a potential spiritual paradox, existing both as a savior as well as the possessed. But as with every good shonen series, as with every Buddhist story, there is a path to enlightenment. Even Naruto and Sasuke had enlightenment. And that's what makes Boruto different from any Jinchuriki that you might be thinking of. Every cursed warrior that came before him. He's not seeking domination over Momoshiki. If it happens, it happens. Instead, he's seeking understanding. Instead, he's seeking a means to an end. This is the highest stage of Buddhist awakening, Satori, where one perceives truth directly, even in the heart of darkness itself. Boruto no longer sees Momoshiki as an alien parasite invader. Instead, he's a mirror. He's a part of him that embodies the fear and pride and detachment that he must overcome in order to transcend fate. If they truly did make a deal, it might not just be about power at all. It might be about coexistence, the final lesson that the cycle of suffering can only end through unity, not through destruction. But unity with a being like Momoshiki means standing in eternal danger. One wrong thought, one slip into despair, and Boruto loses everything. So maybe Boruto didn't just ask for power. Maybe he just made peace with this inner demon, with a backdoor plan in case Momoshiki betrays him. Whether that peace holds, whether or not Momoshiki turns into another curse, that's the gamble Boruto took off screen for the sake of the greater good. And if that deal truly happened, then the greatest threat to the shinobi world, it isn't Jura. It might be Boruto himself. at least if you ask someone like Kawaki. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and clicking here on the left to check out more videos from Naruto Explained, or click here on the right to check out these other videos from other two anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto content.